As I moved past seated passengers far too aware of the bushy ends of my plaited hair, softly slapping people in the face, I cast my eyes to the floor. Our hair is thick, and mine has always been very thick. My old auntie liked to call it ododo, because it grew wild and dense like ododo grass. Just before leaving, I'd rolled my plaited hair with fresh, sweet-smelling ojise I made specifically for this trip. Who knew what I looked like to these people who didn't know my people so well? Hi, I'm Michael Everts, and this is Fit to be Read. Binti, even without its cover, is a unique and clever, highly fit-to-be-read novella, and the first novella of the highly entertaining Binti Trilogy. Anyone who watches this channel regularly knows I am a big fan of Nnedi Okorafor. There are reviews of Remote Control and Lagoon on my channel, as well as many other Okorafor mentions on my tags and in my wrap-ups. Binti and the Binti series are the books that Dr. Okorafor is most well known for. Binti, published in 2015, won both the Hugo and the Nebula awards. As with each review on this channel, the episode will begin with a spoiler-free review, trilogy recap, character analysis, and plot summary. Following that summary, I will announce a 5 likes and a 5 dislike segment that will include spoilers. If you haven't already done so, click the subscribe button, click the notification bell before we get started. Binti also appears on my top 150 science fiction reads video, so check out that video as well. Binti, also known by her very cool extended name, Binti Ekiopara Zuzu Dambu Kaipka of Namib, is the first of her ethnic group, the Himba, to be accepted to and attend the most elite university in the galaxy, Umza Uni. This is a great achievement and a great honor, but not without controversy. Binti applies for the university and receives her scholarship secretly and in opposition to what she is aware that her parents and her friends want for her. Binti's father is an accomplished engineer and the foremost designer of astrolabes. The astrolabe is a communication device, and to be a skilled craftsman of these devices is to have a mastery of mathematics and an ability to harmonize. While this electronic device is compared to a cell phone, the astrolabe is much more. The astrolabe is used as an individual's identification and contains the person's entire past and family history, and even all of their possible futures. Binti shares many of the same gifts as her father, and she's not surprisingly expected to follow in his footsteps. Instead, Binti's intelligence and especially her talents for mathematics provides her the means to follow her pursuit of knowledge to the other end of the galaxy. Keeping the focus on the main protagonist, a few other things make her a standout. Like her family and other Himba, Binti covers her skin and her hair with a mixture of red clay and flower oils. This topical is known as ojise. This mixture symbolizes Binti's roots and Himba culture throughout the story. Those who are not Himba, and this includes other humans as well as non-humans, they definitely shortchange the ojise as a representative cultural symbol, and instead they take the low road. They think of or treat Binti and the Himba as weak, low class, and dirty, and the clay on their hair and skin are the perfect focal point to aim their disgust and their scorn. Most notable among those looking down on Binti and frankly all Himba are the other human ethnic group mentioned in the novel, the Kush. Clay isn't the only thing that Binti has taken from the earth to bring with her to the university. Binti also possesses what she calls an Idan. An Idan is a sort of generic term to describe or label a peculiar or ambiguous electronic item that is likely past its time of usefulness and is not easily identifiable due to it being outdated tech or just too old to function. The Idan is peculiar to Binti. She found it in the desert and she hangs onto it for good luck. She also takes the Idan with her on her trip to the university. The majority of the story takes place on the ship to the university. The ship is a marvel of living technology. The genetically engineered ship, named Third Fish, most resembles a shrimp, mostly because they are stable, calm, and have a hard exoskeleton. Okorafor, as mentioned before, is a one-of-a-kind and creative writer. The inclusion of these living ships is one of many instances where her brand of science fiction dips into the more fantastical. Also needing to be shared is that Okorafor's unique brand of science fiction belongs to a subgenre, African futurism. This is a term that she herself has coined. African futurism is similar to another subgenre, Afrofuturism, but is more deeply rooted in African culture, history, and mythology, branching into the Black diaspora, and not at all centering on the West. Back to the ship. This is where the story lives. As is revealed already on the back cover, the homeworld of the university, the world she's traveling to, is engaged in a war with an alien species, the Meduse. Binti and her people have no part in this conflict, but given her destination, it's not long before the conflict intersects her journey. The Meduse are described in much more creative words than these, but they are large, translucent jellyfish types, perhaps the size of people, with long and deadly tentacles. The Meduse are no stranger to the Kush, the majority of the other passengers on the ship, given that they have prolific representation already at Umza University. Binti, however, is nearly as foreign to the Meduse as they are to her. To survive this journey and this conflict, the only resource available to Binti will be her intelligence, mathematics, her ability to harmonize, and the powerful elements of her culture and homeland. Interesting in the novel is that culture is celebrated, but not with just tokens and superficiality. Binti's culture feeds her strength, but the novella also presents questions around balancing adherence to cultural norms with the need to progress, collaborate, and adapt. Is it possible to distance oneself from their culture while still maintaining a deep connection and a respect for it? This book is easy to recommend to anyone who likes science fiction with elements of the fantastic, coming-of-age themes, and avoids presenting the world as mostly Western and white with military sophistication or action being the path to resolving the main conflict. Binti is also a great read for those who enjoy a strong female protagonist, especially one whose appeal includes their obsession with the pursuit of knowledge and their commitment to open-mindedness, compassion, empathy, and peace. The maturity and fresh take on alien conflict presented in this series cannot be overstated. Binti Home and Binti Night Masquerade are the sequels in this trilogy. To maintain this review as a spoiler-free presentation, my comments on the two sequels will be very light and very superficial. In the first sequel, Binti Home, a 2018 Hugo Award finalist, we get a deeper look at Umza University, as well as further examination of Binti and her relationship to her family, her homeland, and her Himba culture. Also getting decent page time is Okwu, the main Meduse character that we're introduced to in the first book. Okwu will face some interesting character challenges and opportunities for growth. One among many returning themes in the sequel is the consideration of how do we treat those who are different. Not surprisingly, Okorafor presents this in her own creative style and her own unique flavor. This sequel is a good read, and it satisfies the hunger that some might feel after the first book and curiosities about Binti's family and her culture. In the final installment, The Night Masquerade, Okorafor wraps up the series with a bang. Most compelling in the sequel is, of course, Binti and her status as the one who brings heroism, change, and understanding. The ongoing generations conflict between the Meduse and the Kush is also center stage. While appealing in the first book, Binti's pursuit of knowledge in this sequel includes more than ever pursuing knowledge and examination of herself. This finale also showcases Okorafor's abilities for the humorous, and you can just tell that she's satisfied with the great accomplishment of the trilogy and is having fun putting the cherry on top of her brilliant work of art. I've avoided spoilers as long as I could, and that's especially hard when you're including two sequels. So here we go with my 5 likes and 5 dislikes, which I will limit to just the first book, Binti, and it will include spoilers. Like number 1, also present in Okorafor's Lagoon, I really enjoy the proud female empowerment moments that are centered on intellectual pursuits. The scientist in Lagoon and Binti's pride and sheer joy at receiving a scholarship and anticipation to attend a top university fits this bill. It's not necessarily that those things are per se always empowerment moments, but it is how they are read in these books. And it's a real hunger for acquisition of knowledge that's driving it all. Like number 2, I enjoy that the focus of the suspense is not how this one hero might defeat the overwhelming enemy, but rather uniquely how she might use peaceful instincts, consideration, negotiation, mathematics, and harmony to reach a climax that's non-violent. Like number 3, I like that her strength and confidence are rooted so strongly in the organic and nature and not in the traditional high-tech resources of typical science fiction literature. The clay, the artifact that she found in the earth, mathematics, treeing and harmonizing, etc. Dislike number 1, while I appreciate that Binti's connection to mathematics is a significant source of her strength, culture, and talent, the text doesn't really show much manifestation of mathematics other than to mention that it's there. We're not ever really presented with actual equations or algorithms. I might have also liked to have a little more clarity in the book about what is harmonizing. Dislike number 2, I'm a little uncertain about Okwu being offered a spot at uni. It definitely suits the narrative and the whole feel-good moment of everybody getting along and the new understanding. It's just a little uneasy that there's no academic requirement or testing that's necessary before the rush to suggest that his admission should be granted and we should be cheering his attendance. Dislike number 3. Not that it's completely discounted, but the death of the full ship of new students is given somewhat superficial treatment. It's great that the chief gets his tentacle back and the Medusa and the university are all kumbaya, but the death of the freshman-to-be is perhaps shortchanged here. Dislike number 4. While appreciating the theme of acceptance and the involved and mature forward-thinking approach to peace, the students' deaths are not just discounted, there are no consequences for the hostile actions. My conflict with this as a dislike is that I do think that maybe I should just be above it and accept that there can't be consequences in this particular situation because of what's going on in the story. Dislike number 5. It's clear going in that it's a short novella. Binti is such a terrific read that it's easy to be disappointed that it isn't longer. Like number 4, everything that's different. I love African futurism, especially the ignoring of the West in the storytelling and all of that whole element of it. I love that Binti's culture is important to her and it's a strength, while it's also not being a blind allegiance or a restraint. I love that the suspense is never, how will she kill them and save herself? But rather always, how can she be an agent of peace and understanding to survive this? What an interesting and unique approach to building suspense in a sci-fi novella. Like number 5, the symbolism of the change from Binti's clay-packed braids, from clay red to the transformed Medusa blue Okuku, is an excellent, creative, and satisfying way to illustrate her journey from her small home and sheltering family to her new life and existence in a vast intergalactic reality. Nnedi Okorafor's fit-to-be-read Binti series is one of the best and most original science fiction novella trilogies I have ever read. Thank you for watching today. I'm Michael Leverts. This is Fit to be Read. Please like, please subscribe, please click the notification bell, and YouTube will let you know every Thursday at 1 o'clock when I release new videos. Thank you.